You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Ian, look at this.
What, it's a police box. What on earth is he doing here? I mean, these things are usually on the street. I feel it. I feel it. You feel it?
Faint vibration.
It's alive.
Earth Station Who, a fun mashup exploring over 60 years of the Doctor Who universe. Hold on tight. You never know where the crew of the TARDIS is going next.
Hey there, Whovians, and welcome to another episode of Earth Station Who. This time we are not reviewing an episode of Doctor Who in this episode. We're actually going to be looking at the Sarah Jane adventures.
Woohoo!
Yes, and we are doing the two-part story, The Wedding of Sarah Jane, which just happens to have the 10th Doctor in it, so it's always good. It's a ton of fun being able to watch, Elizabeth Sladen and her little pack of, I think they should be called a fam more than the, what the 13th Doctor was calling her fam. So I think it's going to be a ton of fun. And if you haven't seen this, and it's 15 years old now, folks, we will be spoiling this.
How exciting! Spoilers!
So definitely, check that out and everything before you listen to the story. We do got a guest with us tonight. Let's welcome, of course, longtime fan of the show and friend extraordinaire, Steve Fowler. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
You're all dressed with your Whovian outfit. I like that, for those who could see on video.
Yeah, my sister-in-law made me a special little stocking cap. I don't know if you can tell.
I love it.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. And it's a perfect thing to wear when it's 94 degrees out,
Well, I'll be honest with you, it's super hot outside, but my wife likes to keep it really cold inside. She says that she refuses to sweat in her own house. And so I'm in a basement office down here, and I get pretty cold. I may have to grab my Doctor Who scarf back there and throw it on in a little bit. She made me that too.
Of course she did. You don't have to worry. We won't say anything about icicles growing from the beard or anything like that.
Yeah. Those are highlights. Those are highlights.
Oh, okay. They're all well earned, of course. And of course, we have some regulars with us. Let's say hi to Mary Ogle.
Hi, everybody. It is fantastic to be here.
But last but never least in our book, Mr. Michael Gordon himself.
Howdy. I didn't know the tux is optional for this wedding. I don't. I hope so, because I didn't get dressed.
I was seeing some of the people at the wedding. Some were just in jeans, so I think you fit in perfect.
Yeah. Well, it was last minute, so
Well, exactly, and it was all of a sudden they got married. But we'll get into that in a few minutes. Of course, if we'd love to hear from you guys, if you ever want to stop by, if you ever want to join the panel with us, please write us feedback@earthstationwho.com. It's the best way to do it. We do have a little bit of Doctor Who news. Nothing about new seasons or anything like that. But for folks who are streaming Doctor Who, as of the end of this month, which is July, as of right now, it is basically you guys are not going to be able to have one streaming venue to look at your show. As of the 31st of July, streaming for Doctor Who will be going away on Max in the United States, and I think the other territories that it's broadcast in. So, that includes Sarah Jane Adventures, which we watched these episodes on, and it also includes Torchwood, because that's up there also. Those will all be coming down. There has been no update on where these will drop, or if they will, or when. They will eventually, but, just when and how. We don't know if it's going all to Amazon or if it's going to be going to Netflix. There's so many rumors right now out there, and nobody's sure what's going on with Doctor Who. But this is just a little bit of to me, it's a little bit of a slap to the fans and everything. But, one of the things...
It's something that we thought we knew was coming eventually.
Eventually we did. We didn't think it would be this soon. And there has
we thought they would go to Disney.
Yeah,
I thought they would go to Disney like right away.
Yeah,
so we thought they were going to... We're kind of surprised that they're not already at Disney. So,
but now that the Disney deal has fallen, through or ended, it's going to be interesting to see where it pops up. My feeling, it might show up on BritBox or it might show Amazon.
Yeah, I mean, you can still buy them.
Oh yeah,
Amazon.
you can still get digital copies of them.
You could also go through Apple to buy the episodes. So there's definitely outlets out there for you to be able to do that. But it was just like, when I saw the story today, it was just like, because it's always nice. We just put on the other night, we put on the Husbands of River Song, and it was just so much fun to watch and everything. And just, it's always nice to do. I have the discs, but they're all packed up right now. So streaming is the way to do it for us right now. So it's just, it's interesting. Speaking of discs and such, we got news that we are getting the new Doctor Who Blu-ray coming out very soon. Sooner in the UK, of course, as always. We're getting the second season of Tom Baker, the full season, and it has like tons of extras included with it, and I'm looking forward to it because it's still Sarah Jane. It's also Harry. You get the Silurians. You get the Loch Ness Monster. You get the Planet of Evil. It's some great stuff in this season. So I'm looking forward to it. And, Tom's, anytime to be able to see Tom in Blu-ray is awesome. Because you could count the threads on the scarf. That's how clear it is now. So it's pretty cool. So, and it's interesting because I have all the DVDs. And, as I'm upgrading to the Blu-rays, it's just like, it's night, on some of them, it's like night and day, the quality and the restoration. So it's pretty cool.
Is this going to include extras?
Oh, of course. Of course. And so there's going to be interviews with, folks backstage, some of the documentaries that came out with it in that era. So it's,
awesome.
The Blu-rays are worth picking up. And it's nice having it all in one area instead of having like 15 zillion discs for it and everything. And so it's nice for that factor. And, for me, I'm a collector, so I'm a completist. So, as they're coming out, I'm, getting all of them as to, eventually have the whole series. And now that a lot of, it's getting harder and harder to stream certain shows, having the media still is, the smartest way to go. So otherwise, that's the big Doctor Who news. They did announce that they are going to have a presence for Doctor Who at San Diego Comic-Con, who, for those folks who are lucky enough to be able to go to the Mecca of San Diego in July. Well, okay, maybe not. But it's San Diego Comic-Con is a world on its own. And the couple times I've been, it's just been fantastic. And I've always had a great time. And so they're going to be doing a pop-up there. It's going to be Unit's Black Archive, a pop-up experience. And it'll be part of the San Diego Comic-Con. And it's going to be the inside of Ncuti's TARDIS, which is pretty cool. And
That's way cool.
Yes. And so, and I was afraid, with everything that's going on with Doctor Who this year and such, that they wouldn't have a presence at all. So,
yeah, I think that's a good sign.
It is a very good sign.
Mm-hmm.
So,
who's sponsoring it?
That's a good question.
I mean, I guess in previous years it would come from
BBC Studios, actually.
It would be BBC, it would be Bad Wolf, it would be Disney. I mean, I don't, yeah.
No, it's BBC that's doing it. And so I think it's pretty awesome. And it's going to be open. It's interactive. So they have the files there on computers and such. It's going to be neat to see what's going on with that. And I know our friends over at Titan Comics also have a table over there. And Kelly Yates, our friend of the show, is going to be sitting at the table and set up. And I know Mike Gordon actually posted over on the ESW Facebook group, and that we are going to, he has new t-shirts he's selling and such.
Yeah, he's got some designs on, some new designs that they're going to have as t-shirts and all that. So his artwork is always great to be, I don't have anything that I can wear as far as his artwork, but I have a lot of it. He might be like the most, I don't want to say prolific, but as far as artists that do Doctor Who, I think he's got to be right up there now because he's provided a lot of artwork for.
Yeah, he's been doing a ton of work
for merchandise, for comics, for DVDs, for I think Doctor Who magazine. Like he's been churning out a lot of artwork for them.
Mm-hmm. And it's wonderful to see especially such a nice guy.
Yes,
and Kelly is one of the nicest out there. So. And I know he listens sometimes. So, Kelly, if you're listening, good on you,
Hi,
mate.
Kelly.
Yay.
Have a good trip, man.
Have a great trip to San Diego. Hopefully, Titan is paying for it. So, but yeah, I think it's kind of cool that you're going to be able to do that. And, I know our co-host Melanie will be out at the show also. So, she will have her table over in Artist Alley. And she will be, what they say, selling her wares. So it's pretty cool. And so it should be tons of fun. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool that we're going to be getting we haven't heard anything if there's going to be a panel for, the war between the land and the sea or, stuff like that. I'm not holding my breath on that, but I want to be happily surprised. And I'm sure we'll get a ton of news out of San Diego at the end of the month. So folks, there's lots to look forward to, as we like to say. And something I am looking forward to. Steve has gladly volunteered tonight to take his shot at the Whovian Geek Seat. So, you know what? Let's not dilly-dally anymore. Steve, are you ready for your first question in the Geek Seat?
Absolutely. There's you don't have the electric chair buzzer, right? I mean, it's not hooked up.
Oh, you could think that. I'll let you think that.
Sure. Okay.
It's not until it is.
Exactly. Your wife was hiding down in the basement, doing some work for us on your chair. So it's perfect.
There you go.
There you go. I slipped her a 20. It's okay. It's perfect.
Yeah, 20 is all it took, huh? Yeah.
Exactly. Hey.
She paid us.
Yeah, paid us $20. She said I would pay you guys to do this for him, right. So it's awesome. All right, Steve, who was your first Doctor?
Number 4, Tom Baker. It was not during his, I guess, run, but it was mid 80s, and we lived in a rural part of Northeast Georgia, and the only TV we had was antenna, and so we'd get like a combination of Atlanta locals and Greenville, South Carolina locals, and one of the families that we went to church with, we got really close to them, and their oldest son, he always talked about Doctor Who, and I'm like, who? And he's like, yeah, but he would tell me all about, where it was on and everything. Well, of course, that was way past, my bedtime, but I stayed up and would sneak up and, watch on PBS, watch the reruns. And we would always talk on Sunday about like last night's episode. Of course, I'd be bleary eyed because it'd be so late by the time everything got over. But yeah, that was my intro to the Doctor.
Nice. Very, very nice. Which Doctor would you want to travel with?
It'd have to be 13. Jodie Whittaker.
Really?
Yeah. She just, Not that I didn't like Capaldi. He was good, but it was just, to me, she was a kind of a breath of fresh air. And now, to be fair, I really didn't get a chance to catch all the Capaldi era, so yeah, I'm probably being a little bit too harsh. But yeah, she is absolutely my favorite, slightly ahead of Tennant and Smith. So
Gotcha. No, that totally makes sense. And there was a nice charm to her too, and which is really awesome. And she made you feel comfortable that
yeah,
putting your life in
she was
danger.
fun.
It was awesome. Whereas you could say she became, you could become a member of the fam.
There you go.
So, which doctor would you not want to travel with?
Well, being introduced to Baker and being so young, I was like, 10, 11, 12 years old. And then the next time I guess, really saw the Doctor Who series would have been Eccleston. And for me, anybody in between there, like I would catch an episode here or catch an episode here, but because of my affinity for Baker, and between that, everybody else was just kind of a stranger. I didn't know anything about the lore, the regeneration. So I was like, well, that's not Doctor Who, that's somebody else, at that age. So yeah, anybody, I guess, outside of or in between Baker and Eggleston, they'd just be strangers to me.
No, totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. So have you tried going back and watching those other doctors?
I have not, actually. I don't know why. Other than from a production standpoint, the memories of me as a 12-year-old kid seeing the Doctor and what it was at that time, to me it just was mind blowing. But then to go back and see anything from your childhood as an adult, it's a little it's just a little skewed. So I find it even hard to go back and watch even those Tom Baker things.
Gotcha.
Just because of the I guess getting used to the later special effects and then seeing what it was at the time.
Sure. No, that totally makes sense.
Hard to suspend that belief.
Oh yeah. Well, it's hard when you see aliens with zippers up their backs, or or you see the spaceships with the strings, and and such. But
they got that little wobble across the screen.
And then you have K9.
Right.
So totally understandable. What geeks you out the most about Doctor Who?
The fact that every episode can be something completely new and preposterous at the same time. You never know what you're going to get. It starts off, and you try to, well, maybe this is what's going to happen, but then it's like, wow, that completely took a turn. It's always new to me.
No, makes total sense, actually. Totally makes sense. What turns your geek off about Doctor Who?
Pretty much, well, and this is pretty much for any kind of fandom. Some of the fans can be a little much sometimes. I've always, whether it be TV shows that I love or comics that I read or whatever, I've always hated being made to feel like what I like is inferior to somebody else's tastes, and there's a lot of that in every fandom. So not just Doctor Who, but that's just fandom in general.
Sure. No, that totally makes sense. And that's the number one answer we get on the show, actually. And so good on you. Keeping up with it.
Ding, ding, ding. What does he win?
Nothing yet. He hasn't finished. Which Doctor Who companion would you like to meet the most?
Amy Pond, Karen Gillan.
Really?
Yeah. Well, in case my wife watches this, I'll say I love my wife more than anything, but I love redheads, so she is just automatically, that's my favorite companion.
No, that's awesome. I think that's great. No, Amy brought in fresher, a breath of fresh air in, and it was really nice that she, the chemistry she had with Matt Smith was just awesome.
Yeah.
And
the whole story with Rory, and I mean, it just, it was a good time.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Which Doctor Who villain would you not like to meet?
Oh my gosh. And well, I'll tell you this, and my wife would probably agree, it would be the Weeping Angels. She absolutely hates those, and quite honestly, it's a little frightening to think of that scenario where, if you blink, next thing you know, they're right there at you, and it's a little daunting.
Yep. And depending which of the angels you meet, you either go back to talk in time, or
they kill you.
Right.
Exactly. So exactly. What was your favorite Doctor Who geek out moment?
It had to have been the 50th anniversary special, where all of those doctors were, in there. Even though the ones that I didn't recognize right away, I knew enough about Doctor Who to spot, oh, well, I've seen him before. Of course, the later Doctors, I knew all of those. But that was just a geek fest for me.
That is cool. That is really cool. We got to see it live with people, a crowd of people and everything.
Oh, that would have been awesome.
And, having all the doctors, 13, 10 checking in, 12 checking in, and, all the different ones, 2 checking in, number 1's here, my dear boy, it was just awesome. And then when they said, there's 12 of them now? No, 13. And you saw Dr. Angry Eyebrows for the first time. That the crowd just exploded, and it was just awesome to be able to do that. I could understand that. What was your most disappointing Doctor Who geek out moment?
Missing Jodie Whittaker at Dragon Con. I was all prepared to go down and get her autograph. I actually picked up something for her to autograph, and got up there, and I went Saturday, and she was only there Sunday. And so I was extremely disappointed there. So that really kicked me in the pants.
No, understandable. And that was also a good piece of advice for people going to Dragon Con. Always look at the schedule.
Right.
They always put when the celebrities are going to be there, or when they're doing signings and such. So definitely,
Yeah. Lesson learned.
Exactly. And now Steve does look at the schedule. Be like Steve, So it's awesome. Are you ready for your final question in the Geek Seat, Steve?
Sure.
All right. Who or what would you like to see on Doctor Who?
I'll say the what. Looking forward to the 100th anniversary episode.
Oh God, we're gonna be so flipping old.
I'll only be 91 at that point, so I hope it goes that long.
That is awesome. And so, they could wheel Tennant out, for another Doctor Who crossover. and, and they have like 3 of their children who are doctors,
45 checking in.
Exactly. That is awesome. That is awesome. Well, Steve, I've got great news for you. You've made it through the Geek Seat. Congratulations.
Yay!
Mr. Mike Gordon, tell the young man what he's won.
You have won a lifetime supply of ginger snap cookies.
Oh, wow. All right.
Okay.
That's a pretty good one.
That's pretty cool.
I'll be checking my mailbox.
Exactly. Especially if they're the ones with the frosting on top, and then that would be great. I could live with that price.
If your wife will let you have them.
That's true. Steve's like, oh damn, I didn't think about that part.
So you like awesome. Ginger? You like redheads? Do you? Yeah. You're not getting any of those cookies, Steve. Sorry.
No. No.
Yeah, I'm not showing her this episode.
Well, starting with this episode, we're going to be time stamped, so you'll be able to tell her, "Oh, just listen to me at the the 25-minute mark where we start reviewing Sarah Jane." We didn't talk about anything else before, but everyone else, thank you for listening. We do appreciate you more than you could get. And folks, if you want to take a shot at the Geek Seat, please send us a message. We definitely would love to hear from you guys. All right, let's take a quick break, and we will be back with The Wedding of Sarah Jane.
Spring is in the air, and you know what that means. No, it means monsters. Hey, it's Monster Attack, the podcast dedicated to old monster movies. Join us every Monday for new episodes at 5 p.m. You can find Monster Attack on any venue that offers podcasts. So check it out. Monster Attack, a proud member of the ESO Network.
Welcome back, folks. And now it's time to look at The Wedding of Sarah Jane. This was a two-part story, first broadcast on BBC One on the 29th and 30th of October, 2009. It featured, of course, Elizabeth Sladen as the lovely Sarah Jane Smith. And she also had, of course, Luke, Clyde, and Ronnie, and Mr. Smith and K9 as her companions in this. And we got a visit from a guy named David Tennant, but who cares,
What's weird is that he had already finished, even though his run of Doctor Who isn't over yet, he had already finished filming.
Yes.
So this is actually, in the End of Time Part 2 of this, is actually the last time he plays the Doctor until the 50th anniversary episode. And then until the next time, and until the next time, and until the next time, and until the next time.
He just keeps coming back, people.
I'll be back.
Exactly. He's the Arnold Schwarzenegger of, Doctor Who.
For a guy who didn't want to go, man, he's really showing that he doesn't really want to go.
Didn't want to go, yeah.
Because he keeps coming back. Not that I don't appreciate him, because I love him.
I read an interview with him, and he had to regrow the sideburns and such because he had shaved them off from after he finished filming. And he said it was just weird to be able to step back into the costume and everything. And it was awesome.
Yeah, and it was only for I think 3 days. His stuff was really short.
This was not, because he didn't show up till the end of the first part of the story. So let's go around like we always do and get initial thoughts on this episode. And I'll start with Steve first. What were your initial thoughts? Don't go into tons of details, just your initial thoughts.
Well, the interesting thing that you just brought up is that actually aired, the first part aired on my birthday, October 29th. So that's kind of cool. I did not realize that. Watching it back, it was nice to see some of the characters that I had kind of, had to refamiliarize myself, because the old memory isn't as quite as strong as it used to be. But it was nice watching it back and seeing all of that.
That is cool. That is very, very cool.
Did you watch Sarah Jane Adventures before?
Is this your first?
I did.
Okay.
Started, this is what I was telling Mike earlier. I apparently at some point in the transition from cable to streaming, I missed probably some of the later episodes. And I do recall seeing this initially, but I'm going to have to go back and probably catch at least that last season, maybe a little bit of that fourth season before July 31st, it sounds like, when it goes off of Max.
Yeah, definitely. And definitely, the one thing I liked about the Sarah Jane Adventures, because I used to watch it with William, is they brought back some of the more obscure villains from the series, and they also created their own villains too. But you did get the Jadoon, you did get you got the Slovene. Okay, maybe not so great there. Yeah, and then you of course got Santarans and other monsters that were on Doctor Who, which was kind of cool to see. And it's interesting to see the show and how the kids evolved and how the character Sarah Jane did. And this is the first time I think we've ever seen, or the only time, Sarah Jane have a significant other at all with Doctor Who, including on her series, which is kind of interesting. All right, Mary, what are your initial thoughts?
I really enjoyed this episode. Actually, I'm just going to get this out in the open real quick, because we've gone over this before. The writer of this episode is Gareth Roberts.
Yes,
good writer, terrible human being.
Yes,
very transphobic. So there's a whole discussion about separating art from artists and whether you should or not, and we're not going to go there. We talked about him already to death, but just acknowledging, acknowledging that. Yeah, because it's actually a well-written episode, just not by the world's best human being. But I enjoyed it a lot, and I've seen hardly any of the Sarah Jane Adventures, and my first thought was, wow, I really got to go back and watch these. And of course, it's leaving Max.
Of course.
You got 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
I think it's my bad karma that probably caused it. But
that's cool.
It's a really fun episode. Sarah Jane is great. The kids are fun. The kids are actually more in the story than Sarah Jane is. And they do a good job. They're having a lot of fun. It gave me if you remember the Tomorrow People.
Very much so.
It gave me a Tomorrow People vibe, because that was like my favorite kid show when I was growing up.
Mr. Smith, when I saw Mr. Smith the very first time, and it was the big, computer, because every time they said, Mr. Smith, I need you, and it pops out of the wall and it makes all these noises. It's like, oh my God, this is the Tomorrow People.
Right. Yeah, it's very, there's a definite vibe there, but in a fun way, in a good way.
Mm-hmm.
So, overall, I really enjoyed it.
Okay. Mr. Gordon.
I hadn't, I'm like Mary, I actually haven't watched all of Sarah Jane Smith Adventures, which is, I don't understand why I haven't done that, because I love Sarah Jane as a character. I love Elizabeth Sladen as a human being. Man, talk about someone we lost way too young. But yeah, I just never sat down and actually watched all of these. So I know I've seen a few. I've seen all of the ones where the Doctor crosses over. There's one, I think, third season where we get Matt Smith. And I think Joe Grant is in that one too, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
Yeah, she is.
I know that I believe that Nicholas Courtney appeared in an episode. So I think that was his last time as the Brig.
Correct.
I think he was supposed to be in this one, but unfortunately, because of illness at the time, they had to write him out. I enjoyed this overall. It's obviously written for kids, and I think certainly if this was treated in a more mature way, it would have been really interesting to see. As you pointed out, Mike, we never really saw companions in Classic Who kind of get to know one another. I mean, there was always kind of hints between her and Harry, but not really.
No, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And the only time they ever, really hinted at any kind of relationship is when they were writing off the characters.
Right.
The companions off the show.
So
I'm getting married. I'm off.
Suddenly. Exactly. I've fallen in love with this Time Lord I just met 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give up my barbarian ways and, basically, settle down as a female,
Yeah, he's talking about Leela.
I know.
Yeah.
But
For those people who might not know.
Exactly.
Spoilers for that run.
Exactly. Or, either that or you die of trying to fight the Cybermen, and you crash into Earth, and make the dinosaurs extinct instead.
Because I especially think that, certainly the ending of this, which is so,
it's very dark, actually.
It's very dark. And you really feel sorry for almost, certainly for Sarah Jane and for everybody involved. It doesn't hit as hard as it could because, it's like getting hit with a Nerf bat, right? It's like,
it's very, you can tell they've tamed it for kids.
And that's kind of unfortunate because I like the characters so much that I kind of wish that, that they were, because sometimes I think you don't have to write down the kids to write for kids. And I kind of feel like that was done a little bit more in this show. Not as much as like K9's own show.
No.
But yeah. So, but I enjoyed it overall, and seeing David is just always a thrill. Like, I was giving him, crap for popping up all over the place. But the fact of the matter is I love it when he plays the Doctor because he just owns that part. When he walks in or runs in a room, all of a sudden it's like you have that is the Doctor. Like there's no doubt about it.
And no matter what it is, you get a smile on your face. It's like he's back,
there's something just so cool. Like he's just his little Converse sand shoes, as they were called in the 50th, right? Like it's just so fun.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting because we got to see the Trickster in this episode, and we had talked a lot about the Trickster over the last 2 seasons of Doctor Who because we were talking about the Pantheon. And this was the very first time they actually brought up the Pantheon in Doctor Who.
Yeah, the Trickster had appeared before, but I don't think they mentioned the Pantheon of Discord, right?
No, nope, right. Exactly. But this was the first time, and it's like, oh, way to pull, Russell. That's pretty awesome.
Way to pull from yourself.
Exactly.
Too bad he didn't do better with it.
Yeah. So and then you find out, well, he kind of did what he always does.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, RTD bashing.
Oh, exactly.
Almost before we did Chibnall bashing, although I think that was a little Chibnall bash at the beginning, Mike, when you said that, not as good as. But in any case,
anyway, we're not going there right now. But yeah, for me. It was fun to watch this one. It was a fun story. It was cute seeing Sarah Jane in love. I thought it was really well done, and Elizabeth pulled it off nicely. And the actor who played Peter, his name is Nigel Havers, and I've seen him in multiple films before.
Yeah, he was very familiar.
It was like, I've seen that guy before, and then when I went to IMDb, it was just like, oh crap, he's been in this movie. He was in this movie, all the way back.
I don't think he's been in anything that he's really, really stood out, though. So that's why it's hard when you see him in this to be like, oh, it's that guy, because he's always there, but he's playing like, third or second tier characters. But he's good. He's solid, and to his credit, I think he plays a decent love interest for Sarah Jane. Because look, as someone who had a serious crush on Sarah Jane, I'm really skeptical of whoever's coming in to take that spot.
Yeah, exactly. You're stepping on Mike Gordon's toes here, folks. Don't, watch out.
You gotta be, and I think it works here.
Right.
He's actually a very sympathetic character. He's not the bad guy.
No,
in this. He's just somebody who's being used.
Yes,
exactly.
He was taken advantage of in a very vulnerable time.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Well, he was dying.
Yeah. Well, he did. Basically, he did die.
Yeah. Well, exactly. But he was dying, and that's when Trickster.
You can't be more vulnerable than that.
Your neck is going like this, and and it's like I don't think that there's pretty much no other vulnerability. You know, it's like, okay, death, come get me. And it's like, all right. And then the trickster comes. And it's funny because he was genuinely a nice guy. And, you know, and it was cute when they were at the restaurant together and seeing them smooch. It was just like, Judy was watching it with me and she went, oh, you know, it was like, because she didn't know the twist that was coming and everything. Because, you know, she never watched Sarah Jane with us. And so it was fun to see a newbie's reaction to this. And I'm assuming for most of us, this is the first time you guys have seen this one.
No, I've seen this episode before.
Okay.
I think we reviewed it.
We
that
did.
One, but that was on ESO, I think.
Yeah, it was back in the old days.
So that one and the one with
Matt Smith.
Matt Smith. I think we did both of those. So I don't know if we did them on the same show, but I know we because that's why I saw those.
It was definitely familiar to me, but I had definitely forgotten. You know, like you said, you know, Judy wasn't familiar with the twist. I had forgotten the twist. So.
Oh, nice. And everything, and the glowing engagement ring. You know, I love that. You know, gee, there's no mind control there.
But yeah, through the course of the show, your typical thought is like, oh, it's just like he's going to be bad, and it's going to be using her, and poor Sarah Jane's going to get her heart broken and stuff like that. And kind of that does happen, but I do like the fact that it's written in a way where there is sort of it's not that easy. It's not that simple. He's not, as Mary pointed out, he's not the bad guy.
Nope, exactly. And that's the interesting thing about it.
He's not even a bad guy.
No, and it gives him the chance to. I mean, he's not the main character through the whole thing, but it gives him the chance to kind of, you know, have his moment when he decides to sacrifice himself for her.
Yeah. And it was so cute because poor Luke was so desperate for a father figure. And, you know, she was even starting to call him dad. It was just like, it's like, let him get married first before you get to that point, dude, you know?
And he bought in right away.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
It's so weird because I had to look it up because I was like, what is Luke's relationship? Because, I mean, he's calling her mom and I know it's not real, right? So
it's not.
That was one of those where it was kind of, you know, sci-fi, timey-wimey things. So, but, you know, interesting.
That was all the way back in the first episode of Sarah Jane.
I would imagine that the kids were introduced right away. So, and they all have backstories, which if I knew, I forgot. So.
Maybe we should just, you know, go through and, for the next 6 months, go through and just watch Sarah Jane Adventure.
Well,
we can't stream it.
I was going to say, we'd have to do it really fast.
Exactly.
We'd have to binge it and then, you know.
Right.
One of the things I always loved about the Sarah Jane Adventures was they kept the cliffhangers. Every storyline was a two-parter.
Yes, I like that too.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, that was nice.
And everything.
And they did it well.
I wish Doctor Who would do. I know they did it for a season, but I kind of wish I love that.
And it was nice because the stories were independent. They didn't tie in. There wasn't like a season-long arc or anything. They were just part of the story. You got sometimes recurring villains, but that's it.
Did they get to finish? Did they get to finish the show on their turn? Because I know that Liz took it pretty.
I think she passed away when they were filming the 5th.
So season. if we did watch all 3 seasons, there would be it would not be conclusive.
No. It's just basically them going off and, you know, doing more adventures. And like Mary said, they were filming season 5 when she took ill.
Also, there's 4 seasons.
Yeah. There's 4 seasons out there, and they were doing season 5.
Gotcha. So
did any of season 5 get released? Because I that was what made me say 5 seasons, because that's what it said on, I guess, Max. But
they might have released the first couple, but I know they didn't finish it. They were in the middle of production.
So the whole plot of this is that the trickster wants to take care of Sarah Jane because she will do something in the future, right? Like, not just because of what she's done, which is a lot, by the way, but because of something that's going to happen in the future, probably against him. So he wants to get her out of the way, and for whatever reason, he can't kill her. So he's going to, you know, marry her off. and make her happy, and hopefully she disappears. But I was wondering if we do get to see that play out, like whatever it is that Sarah Jane is supposed to do in the future. Do we see that? Maybe not.
You do get to see the trickster again, but I don't want to ruin it for anyone. So, because they're fun stories. They are really, really fun stories. And, and it's interesting because Sarah Jane Adventures was wonderful. Torchwood was great. And then came Class. It was just like, it's like, and now we have, finally we're getting the fourth Doctor Who, technically the fifth Doctor Who spinoff, because K9 and Company too was out there too. So, and then there was the Australian K9 show too, where they totally rebuilt K9 to look like a Iron Man thing. It's designed, K9 as designed by Tony Stark, pretty much. So, but, the story was fun. I loved how, you had Clive, who was completely, suspicious the whole time. And, Ronnie was just like, I'll come along, I'll do this. Why are you so, blah, 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 type thing. And then you had Luke, and you had, and it was interesting. I could definitely see, it was cute. It was the first episode felt very sitcom-y, type thing. The mother wanting to, check out
the neighbor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's Ronnie's mom, and, the whole thing with that. And it was just the episode, the kids trying to spy on the parent. Oh, mom's going out on a date tonight, or supposedly going to doing journalism and, doing, covering a town meeting, but she was out getting snogged. It was awesome. So, but it was fun, and I enjoyed it. And the two parts, even though they were 23 minutes each, they still flew by, and it was wonderful, And, and it was, the second episode was just basically Tennant running through the hotel the whole time,
Going back, how do I get to this second? How do I get to that second?
Exactly. Going back and forth. And, and it was fun, and, and it was great. And,
which was an interesting trap, to be seconds apart.
Yes. Stuck in moment, but you can't get out of it,
Yeah. I mean, it was a really good use of the timey-wimey aspect of it.
So it's pretty cool. And, it whetted my appetite that I do want to see more of the Sarah Jane Adventures, just to watch them. And so, if I have time, I will try to get into watch more, and I do recommend it. Any final thoughts before we go ahead and rate this one?
One other bit of trivia that I found really interesting was that the woman who plays the registrar, Zena Merton, previously appeared in Doctor Who classic series as Ping Cho in the 7-part epic Marco Polo from 1964.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, that's that's pretty amazing.
That's a big stretch.
I know, right?
Wow.
She's like, you could have called. Like, I was around.
I know. You get one job every 40 years.
Exactly. But I thought that was, significant. And of course, nobody could recognize her because no one can see Marco Polo. So,
nope.
Because I think all 7 episodes of that are missing. And of course, that's one that I think a lot of fans would love to see. And maybe we'll see it sometime animated, but even so, Miss Merton will probably not be among those there. So I think she has since passed, but I'm not really sure. So, but in any case, I thought that was pretty interesting. And so Murray Gold does the music here. I got to say, his theme song is not his best work. It might be better than, say, River Song's theme song, but that's not a high bar. But I would love to see, as you pointed out, Mike, I know that Big Finish, prior to this, had done some Sarah Jane Smith adventures, where she was a journalist and getting into adventures and that sort of thing, saving the world and whatnot.
But not with the kids or anything like
not
that.
with the kids, right. I wouldn't mind seeing this followed up with in a Big Finish way. I mean, most of the kids are still, from what I could tell, acting. I don't think I've seen them in anything significant, but they're still around and
it's
acting.
Interesting. Ronnie actually was the Spider Queen in the Tesla episode during the 13th Doctor era.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool.
Yes. So just a little bit of trivia right there.
Yeah.
But I think that's the only one we've seen. And they did do a, thank you, Sarah Jane special back in 2020 to remembering Elizabeth Sladen.
Oh, very nice.
And they did it as, as the characters and everything. It was pretty awesome. So if you get a chance to see it, it's up on YouTube. You could find it. And so definitely I would recommend doing that if you get a chance.
Well, I know that Smith and Sullivan series on Big Finish just started, and that has Sadie Miller doing the role of her mother as Sarah Jane Smith. So I would not mind seeing Sadie, continue on and sort of bring these to a conclusion. It would be kind of interesting to see where they were going. If they already had a 5th season planned, it would be nice to see that kind of finished.
Right.
And it is called Big Finish. So
finish it. Finish it, damn it. You heard them, people. Mike Gordon has spoken.
But I am curious to hear those Smith and Sullivan adventures as well. So
that is awesome. All right, let's wrap this up. And all right, ratings: 1 out of 5 TARDISes, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. Mary, you got to go first this time.
I really enjoyed this one. So I think I'm going to give it a 4.5, and I'm being nitpicky because I only am docking 0.5 because it felt a bit rushed at times, which is understandable because they only have 23 minutes in an episode. Yes. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It definitely made me want to go back and watch all of the Sarah Jane adventures. Who knows if I'll be able to, but it was refreshing to see a kid's show because I would have loved this. When I was a kid, I would have loved this.
Oh, we've been eating it up, literally.
Oh, yeah. But they didn't treat it or the characters as commodities. The point wasn't to sell you something, and which is the point of a lot of kids.
Clive,
shows.
what are you doing over there? I'm drinking new Pepsi Light.
I got some Pepsi.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I poor kids today. So I loved just sort of the whole. It was refreshing to see something that it felt like people actually cared about making, put time and effort into, and weren't trying to sell you something. That alone makes it worth it. So yeah, I think 4.5.
Okay, Steve.
I'm going to agree. At least 4 TARDISes. Might throw in a K9 as well. But it was, it was nice to see those characters again. And for me, as a child, 12 years old, K9 was the one that I always liked, and so that's what drew me, initially back to the Sarah Jane Adventures when it came out. It's interesting to see the progression of special effects over the years, going back and seeing the alien that they caught and had to send home. It was obviously the early days of CGI, but it was very well done. It was nice seeing Tennant again. Always, couple of things that they kept hearing the TARDIS. Ronnie.
I know that was really cool. How it was like, you heard it multiple times through the first episode.
Yeah, and we all knew what it was, but it was like, what is that? But yeah, it was a great episode for for the time, and I think it stands up.
Nice. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, Mr. Gordon.
I'd give it a solid 4. I did find the stuff with the Traverse Prolong, like slug, like kind of just not really needed. I don't know if that was supposed to be a plug for eBay or not, but you can buy aliens on eBay. But I will tell you that, seeing Elizabeth Sladen and particularly the interaction that she has with the 10th Doctor, with David Tennant. I mean, we get it. Obviously, she's reintroduced in School Reunion, which is a great episode of his era, and then it's sort of followed up here. I love the fact that at the end, when he just disappears, she's like, "That's what he does," and then sure enough, he comes back. Mm-hmm. And it's just such a great moment because she's so surprised. Like, that's not something that the Doctor does, right? And then she's like, "Am I ever going to see you again?" And he's like,
"Maybe."
And meanwhile, I'm like, "Yeah, but not with this face." And I think prior to this, or I don't know what the order is, but she and Luke as characters appear at the end of David's at the end of that cliffhanger, right? Or that when the Daleks are attacking and all that, right? So
yes.
So
the final Donna storyline.
Yeah, when everybody's there, Torchwood and Donna and Rose and everybody's there, right? So
exactly.
So it's a nice tie-in. I think for if anybody who is a fan of the 10th Doctor era, they owe it to themselves to see this episode at least, because he's great in it. And it does make me want to watch the series. And I kind of scratch my head, like, why? I think it's, like I said, it's kind of like it hits you like a Nerf bat. So it's kind of soft. And maybe that's why I can't give it a full 5 or anything. But for what it is, I think it's pretty solid stuff.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to do solid 4 for this one. It was fun. It had a lot of great moments, and any chance to see Tennant as the Doctor. Not that we haven't had further down the line more chances to see it, but at the time, that, like Mike had said, this was right after the period when he, left the show. So it was pretty cool. And like Mike said, he had met Clive before on video, type thing.
Right.
And because, that's how he saw, he got to see Gwen and Yanto from Torchwood with Captain Jack, and then also got to see Sarah Jane and Luke, but he didn't meet the other two.
At one point, he says, to the kids, like, to Sarah Jane, like, you are the only ones that are like doing this and keeping the Earth from being attacked. And I'm like, wait a minute. There's there's Torchwood, there's Unit, there's some other groups here, dude. Like, but go ahead, make the kids feel important.
Exactly. Oh, thanks, Doctor. I feel so important.
They should have their own
Earth protectors. Yeah,
they should have their own division of Unit.
Oh, I'm surprised that Kate Stewart hasn't recruited them.
I know, right?
Or she probably has by now.
I should think so. Like, it would be fun if they showed up, I mean, I don't know if we need another Ronnie, but, like...
Yeah, exactly. It's too soon, dude, with the Ronnie. Too soon. Too soon. But, yeah, it was a lot of fun. I do recommend this one. I highly recommend this one. And, folks, if you get a chance... check it out, and as long as Max has it for the next 3 weeks, definitely if you get a chance, please do. And it's always fun when we get stuff from our listeners and they follow along with us. And you know what? Please write us feedback@earthstationwho.com. No new mail this week, which is kind of, after the last few weeks, it's like, what? No mail? But Peter did write us, and he said he's picking up a copy of The Savages because we reviewed it. So,
oh, cool. That's awesome.
So it's pretty awesome. I hope he likes it and as much as we did, and hope, he yells at Stephen as much as we did, type thing, So I think it'll be a ton of fun, and definitely, folks, please let us know what you think, or if you have suggestions of episodes you want us to review, or Big Finish. We don't know Big Finish all that well. So folks, tell us, what Big Finish would you like us to talk about? We definitely would love to hear from you guys to do that. All right, let's get ready to get out of here. Steve, thank you so much for joining us, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Anything, are you going to be at Dragon Con this year? Are you going to be at any cons or anything?
Well, I'm a toy nut as well. So, I'm looking forward to Joe Lanta when it comes up. We just hit Toy Lanta when it came through.
True.
We did Heroes Con week before last, and Mike, Gordon, I was actually looking for you.
I hate missing it. It actually pains me to miss Heroes. I wish I was there, buddy.
Yeah, you and Bobby I ran into last year, but yeah, it was a good show, and there were so many more comics this year. I was really impressed. It was interesting. My son walked in and just kind of got stuck on the very first little vendor over on the side, and I'm like, he was there forever, and I'm like, son, you haven't even turned the corner. Your mind's going to be blown. But yeah, I'm definitely toy cons. Love those. So you can probably find me in any of those. Going in not this coming weekend, but next weekend to Charlotte for the third year for our HVZ End War. It's the big Nerf war kind of thing. Me and my son do that every year. We've had a really good time doing that. So yeah, I'll be the old guy trying to keep up with all the kids
with those
Nerf
damn
guns.
youngsters.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely
awesome. That is awesome. Let's thank our regulars also, and Ms. Mary Ogle. Thank you as always.
Oh, thank you. It was a lot of fun watching Sarah Jane. I hadn't really seen it before.
Do you want to promote your stuff?
You can find me at maryogle.com or on Etsy at eVision Arts.
Excellent. And Mr. Mike Gordon, we've made it through another one, my friend.
We did, and as always, it's my pleasure.
Anything you want to promote, sir?
Well, in addition to the other podcasts that I do on the ESO Network, Bat Chums and the Dragon Con Report, I got to join Joe and Tony to discuss on the Watchathon of Wrestle-On. They are knee-deep in the David Tennant era. And so I joined them, episode 189, which if it's not out by now, it should be out really soon, where we talked all about human nature and the family of blood, which is maybe my favorite Doctor Who story of all
Those
time.
are so good.
They're so good.
And any excuse to rewatch those is a pleasant one, and it was a pleasant experience talking to them about it. So we had a lot of fun. Great two-parter. If anybody out there has not seen those two episodes, especially before they disappear from Max, watch them, rewatch them, because man, every time I watch it, it's enhanced for me, the viewing experience, and that's the nature of really, really good storytelling.
Very nice, very, very nice. For me, I will be, of course, doing my regular podcast that I produce over on Tales from Hollywoodland. We talk about our cinematic guilty pleasures and movies that, we just always want to watch, and always, like, if it's on TV that catches your attention. Oh, got to watch this. Now I'm here for the next 2 hours because, the Joker's about to attack Gotham, or, you get to see Pulp Fiction for the 5800th time. It's always great when you do that. And there's just so much good stuff out there, and everyone has their guilty pleasures of movies that, they have so close to their heart and everything. And it's pretty cool to get to talk about that. Over on Julian Schlossberg's Movie Talk, this week we are talking to Leslie Ann Warren. And it's awesome to be able to talk to her about Mission Impossible, talk to her about Clue, talk to her about, of course, Victoria, and, all the other zillions of other projects she's worked on. Such a wonderful conversation with that. So please, you could check those out wherever fine podcasts are found. Or we're also up on YouTube, so you could also check that out. Of course, if you want to get more involved with Earth Station Who, we've got an amazing Facebook group where we talk all things Whovian stuff. And we've, been trying to get more active on it, trying to get more people involved. And it's just been a lot of great stuff to be there. If you do Facebook, please check us out. We also are on Instagram, and, that's it for social media that we do, because, I don't have time to post other places, it takes up a lot of my time already, but it's great to be able to share and meet new Whovians and share our love of Doctor Who. So definitely check that out. Of course, as we said earlier, if you get a chance, please like and subscribe. Takes 2 seconds, folks, and that's how, the algorithms find us. That's how you can get more and more, other Whovians who like what we're doing. So until then, of course, thank you as always. My name is Mike Faber. On behalf of Mary Ogle, Michael Gordon, and Mr. Steve Fowler, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time on Earth Station Who. Peace be with ya. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye. See ya. Miss you already.
You have been listening to Earth Station Who, a pop culture podcast dedicated to all things Doctor Who, featuring talents from throughout space and time. All topics on the show are the sole opinions of the individuals and are to be used for entertainment value alone. You can subscribe to our show wherever fine podcasts are found, or check out our website, earthstationwho.com. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook or Instagram, and if you enjoyed the show, please write to us at feedback@earthstationwho.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you on the next journey of Earth Station Who.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.